Hi, I'm Chris Williams in the Office of Assessment and Accountability. Today I'm going to be talking to you about Student Data and Review Rosters Application, SDRR, with Cohort. So let's begin with Cohort. Cohort, let's talk about what Cohort is. Cohort data provides us an accurate graduation model that follows the student from the first time they enter high school as a freshman through their expected cohort graduation school year. Now, we do know that sometimes students don't start out, in their ninth grade. They may come in at other times in high school. So it will start, it will follow the student the first year in their high school and then go through when they will be expected to graduate high school. Also, we have the 4-year adjusted cohort graduation rate, and we have the 5-year adjusted cohort rate. Now, for our 4-year, it shows you that it is defined of students who graduate in 4 years with a regular high school diploma. And then to calculate that, you would divide that by those students, by the number of students who enter high school 4 years earlier, adjusting for your transfers in and out, and students who are deceased as well. Then you go into your 5-year cohort graduation rate, and how that's defined is the number of students who graduate in 5 years with a regular high school diploma, and they're divided by the number of students who enter high school 5 years earlier, adjusting for transfers in and out, and your students who have deceased. Now, those are the calculations for 4-year and 5-year. Also, it talks about how your students are going to be coded as cohort when they first enter high school. Now, your 4-year and 5-year adjusted cohort graduation is used to determine if a district or school met their graduation rate goals. And generally, schools with a 4-year graduation rate of less than 80% will be identified for what we call CSI, which is Comprehensive Support and Improvement. But for our school year 2019-2020, no schools will be identified. So schools identified as CSI back in 2018-19 will continue to get support. And the reason that no new schools will be identified is because for this year is because for the 19-20 school year is because we did have COVID-19, and our students we are not going to have accountability for this year. So we had to go in and, say no new schools will be identified for this upcoming school year. But like I said, ones who were already identified in 2018-19 will continue to get support. Now, when is Cohort going to open in SDRR? It will open August the 7th at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it will close on August the 21st at noon Eastern Standard Time. Now, you'll be able to log into SDRR and be able to view your student listing. You'll be able to go in and make changes in Infinite Campus and SDRR because you want both of those to match. So any changes you make in SDRR, you want to also make in Infinite and make sure that that reflects the same data in IC as well. Just want to let you know that Cohort does not follow the 100-day rule, and students track back to A1 or A5 or A6, etc. school where the student was last primary enrolled. And in Infinite Campus, you'll see where the student was primary enrolled by the letter P under the enrollments. That means the student, that's what we will pick up from Infinite Campus for those students, unless the student was a verified transfer or KSAC, which is award of the state. Now, CASAC, what is that? That is that Kentucky Educational Collaborative for State Agency Students. And so, of course, those students, you know, if you have those could track back to the state as well. So just be looking for those, because like they said, those will not, your verified transfer or your CASAC students would not, those are your state agency students, would not track back to the A1, A5, or A6. Now, with ticket changes to reporting location for public reporting and non-participation requests in SDRR, we would want you to make sure that in Infinite Campus enrollment records that matches as well in IC, so that way that information will be approved in SDRR for those students. The date last updated from Infinite Campus also will be reflected in SDRR as of July 31st. There will be a screenshot that will reflect this particular information for you. It will and we'll show that as we get to the screenshots for Cohort. Now, here's what I was talking about, like if you make any demographic changes to SDRR, we want to make sure that that Infinite Campus reflects that as well, and it matches what you're requesting. And so if you are, because what we are going to do, our data folks in the Office of Assessment Accountability will be checking that information against what is in Infinite Campus for what you change in SDRR. That way, those both are correct, and then your data is very clean. Now, you'll notice that on the screen, you'll get to the URL to be able to log into SDRR. You can click on that, and it'll be able to take you to the SDRR login page. And you'll notice that when you get to the login page, you're going to be able to supply your username and password. If you do not know what your username and password is, or if you're brand new to the district and you don't have a username and password for SDRR, you'd want to talk to your WAPOC in your district. And what is your WAPOC? That's your district technology person in your district, and they'll be more than glad to get you a login for SDRR and get you set up. Our staff in our Office of Assessment Accountability do not supply districts with the login information for SDRR. We can walk you through anything else in SDRR, you know, with the process, but with that username and password, we do not. So make sure you talk with your district technology person, and they'll be more than glad to get you logged in and get you ready to go when this data review for Cohort will be opening in August the 7th. Now you're going to come to the Welcome and Home screen. Once you put in your username and password, you're going to see on this Welcome and Home screen, you're going to see the latest announcements. In the latest announcements, you're going to have lots of information to support you in your work. It'll help you with a tool for Cohort, as well as it'll tell you when Cohort is going to be open for you to be in SDRR, which is for you to make any changes starting from the 7th of August to the 21st of August. And you'll be able to make any changes to that information during this time. And also there will be the help button, the I need help button at the top of every screen that will help you with anything with Cohort, as well as our other assessments and anything else that you would want to know about SDRR and your work with it. Also, we will have the 100-day tool and 100-day quiz to that's for assistance with data review. But with Cohort, remember, it does not follow the 100-day rule. Is where the student was last enrolled. Then another thing that you will see, besides the latest announcements, you will also be able to see how to get to Sandbox. Sandbox is just a practice area for you as school and district staff to be able to work with SDRR and be able to train others in your district to be able to use SDRR and its functions. So make sure you take advantage of that. Another thing is that it will always tell you what is open in SDRR, and you'll notice that during this time there will be 2 things that will be open from August the 7th through the 21st in SDRR, and that will be Cohort that we're talking about right now, and also data review. And there is a separate video for data review that will help you with your work. Now, once you click on Cohort, it's going to take you down to the Cohort SDRR tasks for Cohort. And that task list just kind of helps you what tasks you're going to be doing during this time. And it also gives you some reminders at the end of the cohort review window before it closes on the 21st that you want to make sure that you save a copy of your cohort student listing, so that way it reflects all the changes that you made during this time. Also, you have the quick links. Quick links are you'll have the student listings for your four-year cohort, which is your 2020 student, and then you will also see your 5-year cohort, which would be your 2019 students in there for 5-year cohort. You will also see your transition listing, and then you'll also be able to see your downloads. Transfer listing, those will be all of your students who are going to be accountable to you. And then also you'll be able to download all those student listings as well. And you'll notice at the beginning when you get to quick links, it'll say cohort student listings and it'll say all. That means if I click on that one, I can see both my 4-year and my 5-year cohort on my student listing. Otherwise, you can look at each individual one if you wish. You will also see on here the tickets, what tickets were submitted for cohort. And then with the SDRR task, you'll be able to use this as a checklist if you want to and check this off. It is optional, but some people like to know, well, what do I need to be doing, during cohort? Well, this is the checklist to be able to help you. Also, above that SDRR task, it'll tell you that the data last updated for cohort was, and then when the next planned update will occur for cohort. So that's very important information because we do in the Office of Assessment Accountability get several questions about, well, when was it last updated and when are you going to when is the next planned update for cohort data? So that way we can see that information and see the changes that we've made. So make sure you look at those dates. Those are going to be important dates for you as well. Now, on your student listing, you'll be able to go in on your student listing and be able to filter for cohort by all of the fields that you see on the screen. Keep in mind that when you are going in and filtering, and you apply a filter for participation, status or on time or your on time or etc., that you do, once you finish filtering, that you clear that filter, and so it reverts back to your original data that you saw when you first clicked on your student listing. You'll be able to export to an Excel or PDF or CSV file to be able to see all of your students at one time if you want to. But remember that you want to make sure that you are working within SDRR of your student listings if you need to make any changes to the demographics, and you'll be able to see that the grade will be 12 or it may be 11 depending on when the student graduated. You will also be able to see the name of the student, their SSID, the date of birth. You'll see the gender, race, ethnicity, the accountable school, the last enrolled school, and then if you need to do any non-participations for the students, like verified transfer, etc., of course, you know, those have to be approved as well. And so we want to make sure that any changes you make to the demographics, that it does reflect in IC, so that way we can go ahead. Our staff in Office of Assessment Accountability on the data side will be able to approve what you've put in for cohort. Also, you'll see the IEP status, lunch status, EL status, the diploma type, whether they're a regular diploma or whether they're on the alternative diploma for alternate assessment students. Also, you'll see their in status, which is their G code that they've gotten, or if there's a withdrawal code that you know, the student had withdrew for certain reasons during this time. It'll be on there. It'll have the end date. It'll tell whether the student is on time or not, or if that information is not applicable. And then also you'll be able to see your ticket history as well for your cohort students. And you do want to make sure that all of this information is correct for your cohort students, and that the students that you are accountable to are, you know, reflect that. And if you got students who should not be accountable, that you know, you have fixed that information in the student listing as well in SDRR. And also, like I said, just make sure that all of this information is reflected both. Again, I know I keep repeating that because I just want to make sure you're clear, to make sure that you do go in and make sure that Infinite Campus and SDRR reflect the same information. So that way the approval process for what you change in SDRR does get approved quickly for you. And you always want to make sure that you do look at those tickets when you're in SDRR to make sure everything has been approved as well. Because we do have information that says, you know, that will go in and reflect that will go in and reflect that. So, and we do have people who will check that information in IC before they can approve it. So just want to reiterate that one more time. And remember that with cohort, there are different non-participations than what you would see during the data review for access or alternate access. And so with each one of our particular tests, we do have different, not only our tests, but also, you know, different parts of SDRR that are open. We do have different non-participations for you. Now, this screenshot just gives you a screenshot of how to export it to Excel, PDF, and CSV, so that way you can see all the information at one time, but then you'll want to make sure that you go back to your student listing to be able to make those changes. There are resources for you for Cohort. You'll see underneath the I Need Help button, there's lots of information to help you. There will be one that'll say Cohort. You can click on it. It'll be able to give you all the information about your 4-year and 5-year cohort information. It'll also be able to get you to the Cohort Tool if you need it to work with that. Also, it'll help you with if you want to know what you know, about your G codes or what the withdrawal codes are and what those mean in Infinite Campus. There's a whole listing of those underneath Cohort to be able to help you. There's just lots of useful information on this I Need Help button. So make sure that you do use that. It'll be very valuable for you in your work during this time. Cohort information, like I said, there are also, when you click on it, you'll be able to see all of the information that I just talked about previously. You also see some FAQs to help you about cohort and etc. And then, like I said, how to go in and do each of the particular tasks, how to do your cohort student listings, how to filter, how to see the task listing, how to do the data verification, how to calculate you know, your preliminary adjusted cohort graduation rate. You'll be able to see those in status and withdrawal codes. And then you'll also be able to see any questions that you may have about SDRR as well. Cohort Tool. The Cohort Tool will be able to support you in this information. It has lots of information for you to be able to click, and you'll be able to go to the next thing. Remember that with Cohort, we do pull the primary enrollments out of Infinite Campus. That's what is used for the cohort calculations. For your students, and the reason I'm stressing that is because we do have other enrollment in Infinite Campus, such as partial or special ed. You know, they have what they only, you know, we have, and those particular ones are not included. And those will be what we will be marked as state excluded in Infinite Campus. And so we will not pull that information from IC to be able to pre-populate your rosters and your cohort data that you see for cohort out of Infinite Campus. And like I said, it does not follow the 100-day rule. And there's lots of useful information. There's also reports in IC to make sure that your cohort data that is pulled out of Infinite Campus that gets correctly into SDRR, and you'll see a link to that underneath that Cohort Tool underneath the notes. So make sure that you do check all of that information prior to it opening on August the 7th, so that way you get the most updated information out of Infinite Campus, you know, for your cohort student listings. Here are some of the, when you click on the Cohort Tool, you'll see the various scenarios that you can get, and also the other scenarios that we have as well that people want to know about when they go to put in cohort. And you'll notice that you'll see your ward of the state, which is your foster students, or under the jurisdiction of the court, which is your KSAC students. And you'll see all of that information will be underneath that Cohort Tool that is very valuable for you for your work. We do also have resources for Cohort. You'll see the recorded trainings for this. This training for Cohort will be recorded and for you, link will be sent out in a Monday DAC email this week to be able to, special DAC email, excuse me, to be able to support you in this work, as well as the one on data review. You will also see the help button on every screen of SDRR. You'll also be able to have your local WAPOC to be able to get access to SDRR. And then for other things, you'll be able to see the 100-day quiz or scenarios or the 100-day tool for as resources as well. We will also have a question and answer session for data review and cohort for you. And you just join our Teams meeting on August the 12th from 2 to 3 Eastern Standard Time. It gives you the link to join, or if you want to join by phone, and you can ask any questions you want about the functionality of SDRR for both data review or cohort. But during this time, you will not be able to ask any specific questions about student information because there will be other schools and districts on there. And so we don't want your student information to be shared out with everyone else. So if you have a specific question about your student information, you'd want to contact our office, and you'll be able to see that on the next screen. Like I said, here is for cohort. For any information, you can send it to the KD assessment at education.ky.gov, and they'll be more than glad to work with you on cohort. Make sure to put in the subject line cohort, so that way those questions about cohort will be answered quickly for you. I do want to thank you for all you do for this work, for cohort, and for our students who have graduated, because we want to make sure that all of that information is correct before it goes to the next step for our quality, control process. And so be looking for more information about the next steps once cohort and data review closes. There will be more information for you on that and timelines. And then that way, once this closes for cohort, then this data will be shared with you during that quality, and any changes you've made will be shared during that quality control process before it's reported in the school report card in the fall. So I just want to thank you all for your time and everything you do, and appreciate you taking the time to make sure to do both cohort and the data review process in SDRR, so that way your data will be accurate for public reporting. And I hope you all have a successful back to school, and like I said, any questions, feel free to contact us, and we'll be more than glad to work with you on that. I hope you all have a wonderful day.